But let's get going. Greatest season ever.
By far. And LSU, I mean, they rested their case this season on why they're so great, on why 10 to 20 years from now, when people are sitting down talking about who is the greatest team in the history of all of college football, go back to the 2019 LSU Tigers football team. I mean, it's not about just 15 and 0 in the national title. I mean, Clemson did the previous season. It's about how LSU got there. I mean, we're talking about a team that knocked off 7 teams in the top 10 this season. Out of those 7, 4 of them were in the top 5. Now, let's not also forget that LSU defeated all 4 teams that were in the AP preseason top 4, which was Oklahoma, Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, and LSU did it by an average of 20 points. If that doesn't scream dominance, I don't know what does. And if that's not the greatest season ever by any team, I don't know what is. So, I rest my case.
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw this coming. I mean, they talked. Joe Burrows especially talked about the improvement in the offense in the all the way back in spring training. But I don't think anybody really imagined that this is the product we would get.
I mean, LSU definitely exceeded all expectations going into this season. And what I was so impressed with, because, we all know that Joe Brady came in last offseason. And so to have an LSU team that hasn't really played together for too long, I mean, you have guys coming in from high school, guys coming in from transfer portal, coming in from JUCO, and to incorporate an entirely new offense, an entirely new offensive system, these guys ran into perfection. I mean, you look at these guys, it looked like they were playing backyard football every Saturday night. And what I was so impressed with was the chemistry of these guys and, and how in sync they were with each other as a team.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there running. What they're all saying, and this is absolutely true, is that Joe Burrow was playing NFL level quarterback play, and essentially what was. Steve Insminger was the offensive coordinator, and he is the one ultimately running the plays. Joe Brady turned the LSU offense into what was essentially Sean Payton's offense. So they were running a pro offense. Forget pro style. This was a pro offense. And Burrow's his maturity, his pinpoint accuracy, the fact that he could throw it downfield on a dime and hit a receiver like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson in stride and put it to where only the wide receiver and his wide receiver can go get it. The defender was helpless. You watch a lot of those touchdown passes that Burrow threw. The LSU receiver was going to be the only person who caught that. It was otherwise incomplete.
Well, I mean, what that reminds me of is Drew Brees. I mean, that's how Drew Brees was, and that's how he still is. I mean, being able to get to put the ball to where only the receiver can get it, and that takes the utmost precision. Another thing about Joe Burrow, what I was so impressed with, I mean, and like we've all said, he's playing pro level football this past season. And what I'm impressed with is his ability to evade pressure. When you look at 3rd and 17, and that's what really turned the tide for the Tiger season. That's when people started taking notice, was 3rd and 17. You look at the SEC title game and how he's able to evade pressure from a tough Georgia defense. You gotta look at his accuracy, his way to expose mismatches, and his football IQ is off the charts. I mean, so Joe Burrow, all he did was pretty much state his case of why he's the best player in all of college football.
And it wasn't just Joe Burrow. I mean, the Tiger offense was amazing altogether. The offensive line, which was mediocre at best last year, and just got dominated by teams like Alabama, as we saw in their losses, the 3 losses last year to Alabama, Florida, and who was
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. Well, not so much Texas A&M. That was just a
Lack of defense.
a lack of defense. But if against Florida, especially in the second half and in all game against Alabama, Joe Burrow just got creamed. He was owned. The offensive line couldn't keep him off the ground or protect him. This year was entirely different. They were one of the best in the nation this year. And you had a receiving core. They had 3 guys on it that are going to go in the first 2 rounds. If not, I mean, Terrence Marshall is still the big question. I think Jefferson is a likely first round. Could slip into the second round. That is a possibility, but I just don't see it happening. I see him at worst going late first round. And then Jamar Chase, top 10 pick all day long.
Jamar Chase, I thought he's coming back next year.
He is. He's coming back, but I'm just saying over the next 2 seasons, he's not. Chase is not returning for his senior season.
Oh, definitely not.
Let's just get that started right now.
If he was going to go into the draft, this kid was going to be like a top 15, top 20 pick if he was going this year. Trust me, NFL scouts want him, but I mean, he's only a sophomore getting ready to be a junior. So that's the fortunate part for this LSU football team going into next season, considering losing a lot of players.
Yeah. Okay, the big thing is LSU has officially lost Joe Brady. He went to the Carolina Panthers to be the offensive coordinator. Not a surprise. I'm not surprised at all. In fact, I was pretty certain that Joe Brady was done with college football after the Alabama game.
I mean, at first it came as a surprise to me, but I mean, I wouldn't say like he's actually going to the pros. I mean, it's basically that feeling of I don't want him to leave because he's been so good to LSU in his 1 season. But I am happy for Joe Brady. I mean, this not his first rodeo with the pros, and I mean, he's only 30 years old, but I mean, he's gonna be the youngest assistant in the NFL. But just he's earned it. I mean, that's all I can say. This is something that's well deserved, and I truly wish him luck in the future. And I do see him being a head coach along the line.
Yeah, if he gets some experience as offensive coordinator first and has the level of success that we all believe he is capable of having at the pro level, then yeah, no doubt. No reason not to give him that opportunity.
I mean, and I don't blame the Panthers for hiring him. I mean, Joe Brady took a guy like Joe Burrow and took his game to the next level. And for your game to be taken to the next level, I mean, you gotta have some type of foundation. Joe Burrow had a foundation of his skill set to where Joe Brady could work with him. And same thing with the Panthers, Kyle Allen and Will Grier. I mean, most likely Kyle Allen's gonna be the starter for next season, the way things look. Or if they keep Cam Newton, but hopefully Carolina could keep Cam Newton because I do feel that Joe Brady could take his game to the next level, and we could see an offense from Carolina unlike any other in the NFL.
Yeah, the other big news dropper, yet again not the biggest surprise, was Matt Rule took Joe Brady with him to the NFL, and Dave Aranda took his place at Baylor. They just announced that a few days ago.
That was no surprise. Coach Aranda has stated that he does want to be a head coach, and that's another job for Coach Aranda that is well deserved. I mean, considering what he's done for LSU and the defensive production that his defense has put up, I do feel that Baylor is the perfect starting role for him. There was talks about him maybe going to UNLV to help the Rebels spearhead like an uprising for the Rebels, like a new era. But of course, Rebels went to a different direction. But I do believe that going to a school like Baylor, coming off a pretty good 11-3 season. A team with so much talent, I do believe that Coach Aranda is going to really shine, and I do also wish him luck to his future endeavors as well.
Yeah, and just to wrap this thought up, I saw a bit of the press conference for Dave Aranda, and he got pretty emotional when talking about Coach O.
I mean, well, Coach O was the one that really believed him. Coach O wanted him. And knowing that Coach Aranda has built a bond with LSU, and I mean that's just the impact of the Southern hospitality. on what Louisiana's about and what LSU football is about as a family. And so I do believe with, how close they were, I do believe that they built a bond, kind of like a lifelong friends bond, you could say.
He did call Coach O the best person he's ever learned from. All right, well, that brings us up to our first break. When we come back, we will be talking about LSU players who have declared for the draft.